I'll be showing Reflect in the web. Reflect is our well-being tool that's been part of Microsoft Teams for Education for the past few years. But now, Reflect is available anywhere in the web. So that could be with your class, with other educators, or your PLC. So let's get started. I'm signed in as an educator, and I'm here on a public website. This is actually the public website for Reflect at reflect.microsoft.com. Now, what I want to do as an educator is create a check-in that I'm going to share with anyone who has the link. So the first thing you're going to do is up in the address bar, type in reflect.new and hit enter. This will sign me right into Reflect for the web. Now, one important note, you're going to need an A3 or A5 license to be able to use Reflect in the web right now. That means if you have the A1 license, this will not work. And we give you a little error if you're signing in with an A1 license. Here I am in the check-in form, and this is very similar to the Reflect check-in form in Teams. You can set how are you feeling today as a default. You might say how this week feel, or you can customize how are you feeling about and then enter your topic. I could customize this and type whatever I want. Could also explore check-in ideas, and I'm going to do this. Over on the right, there's lots of different options for you to choose about how you're feeling. And I'm going to choose how you're feeling about tonight's homework. I click that and it inserts it right here. By default, respondents' names will be recorded down here. You can also customize some settings. I'll click the gear in the lower left. And over on the right, you can see this is people in my organization can respond and a sign-in is required. You can say how long is the check-in open for, 15 minutes, an hour, 8 hours, all day, a week, or no time limit. I'm going to leave it as a default of 8 hours. You can also change the emotion vocabulary. For younger students, you might want to choose simplified emotion vocabulary. And this will have fewer and more simple and basic emotions for those younger students. But we're going to leave it on the broad one with more than 50 emotion words. And then also you can choose to record the name, which by default is on. And in the lower left, it says respondent's name will be recorded. If I turn that off, it changes to they will not be recorded. I'll leave it on. I'll close the settings pane. And now we're ready to create the check-in, and I will click create check-in. This immediately creates the share this check-in item. Now what's cool is I can copy the link, which is the most basic one. I'm going to do that. But let's say you want to do a QR code. You can go here and there's a QR code that's generated, so you can hold that up if you're at a conference session maybe. You can download this. You can also share it directly to Teams, Google Classroom, or other apps. I click here. There's other apps that you can share this directly to. But I have the most simple one right here. I copied the URL. What I'm going to do next is swap over to a student and show what it looks like on their side. I'm here as a student and I've just got Bing, the homepage open. I'm not using Teams. We don't use Teams at my school. I wish everyone did, but they don't. And I'm just going to paste this URL that my teacher gave me, that Reflect URL that was generated. And again, if you had a QR code, you could sign in that way. But in this case, I'm just going to hit enter. And here's that Reflect check-in, really easy. How are you feeling about tonight's homework? I'm going to select one of these and say here. And now I can hover and get the Feelings Monster. And if you haven't seen the Feelings Monster, it's a lot of fun. You can hover and get all these great little representations of the emotion. The other nice thing that we've added is right here. I'm going to select proud. If I want to hear what that sounds like, I can read it. So
proud, focused, optimistic, motivated, enthusiastic about doing something.
Okay, I'm going to choose motivated. And right here, a little note, it says only the check-in creator will be able to see your name. So I've chosen my Feelings Monster. And if you want to make a different choice, you can always go here and hover on some different one.
Concerned, worried, or troubled.
But I will go back here and we're going to leave it on motivated.
Motivated.
Okay, now I'll hit submit. And now my check-in has been shared. Now I'll flip back to the educator and we're going to pretend that a bunch of different students have filled in their Reflect check-in. I'm signed back in as the educator, and at a quick glance, I can see over here 3 people have filled in my check-in. And I have also the other ones right here for my other check-ins. On the right, if I hover, I can see the responses distribution. I'll show that shortly. Ask it again if you want. Share it if you've lost the link or you want to reshare it. And you can delete the check-in or close the check-in. But the most interesting part is when you drill into a specific check-in. So let's click right here. I can see the folks that have responded to my check-in. And there's a couple of different response emotions. Right here, this person looks like confused, motivated. In this case, this person looks bored. Now you also have the names above. If you want to hide the names, you just click right here. I might want to show this to the entire class or the entire staff if it's a staff check-in. And you can show, hey, that someone's bored, someone's confused, someone's motivated. That can actually be helpful to show how other folks are feeling without showing their names. You can also go here and do that same sharing and hit the three-dot menu and have the other options. I will close this. If I want to drill into the specific responses, I can go here and see that distribution. So right here, there's one from Ashley. She's motivated. This person is bored. This person is confused. And if you have an entire class or an entire set of people, this is really handy. Now, especially if you have a lot of people, you want to say show percentages. That can show the percentages right here. So 33, 33, and 33. That would obviously get bigger if there were more responses. To go back into Together View, you can also get out right from there. So a couple different spots to get into Together View. That's a quick tour of Reflect in the web. Try this out in your next class or staff or PLC meeting. It's a really great way to gather the pulse of how things are going. If you want to keep up with all the latest Microsoft updates and tips and tricks, subscribe to my channel and then just ring the bell so you get all the latest videos that I post.